Got on my leather jacket Thriller. The show ain't nothing Miller. Man, I'm a lady killer. If I want her, I'm a stealer. I promise I can make her fly away like caterpillars. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leticia Remauro from the Vaughn Agency, and I'm here today with my partner, George Passariello. And we have special guests today, Eddie Gomez and Scott LoBaido. And everybody say hello to Eddie and Scott. Scott, Eddie, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Morning.
Well, we're really grateful to have you here today. And today we're going to get familiar with Eddie and Scott and the things that they do on Staten Island. For those of you who don't know Scott LoBaido, he's known as the patriot artist because he has traveled the world painting the American flag in all of its glory. And it is his focus to keep that art alive, that art of our American flag. Eddie Gomez and Scott have been friends for a long time. Eddie Gomez is a very, very well-known restaurateur here in New York City. He's got fantastic food, and he combines the love of food with the love of art. He is a patron of the arts, and he's a great supporter of the arts. So welcome to both you, Eddie and Scott. We're here today to talk about the future of leisure in this new America, post-COVID, post-protest, post-everything. So welcome.
Good to have you guys.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So I wanted to start off, Scott, I wanted to talk about you because you have a unique story. We know that many artists tend to be very liberal and they hold liberal philosophies. You're one of the very few conservative artists. You've painted a very famous painting of President Donald Trump that he has seen and he has commented on. So talk to us a little bit about what inspires you and what it's like being a conservative artist, especially in today's world.
I've been a conservative artist forever. You know, everybody thinks, the people that don't know me previously to the Trump being elected, you know, everybody got into politics. All of these people became these political geniuses overnight. And politics is very similar to a sport. You don't watch one football game and become a professional in football. It takes years for you to learn the rules and how it works. And it was just, you know, heartbreaking to watch everybody think that they were a political genius after Trump got elected, especially the younger generation. And so I have been a conservative leaning artist for the last 25, 30 years. And there's a part of it that is, you know, because I did deal with the art world when I was younger. And I went to find myself as an artist in the 90s, you know, after I've been an artist my whole life in the big city, big Manhattan. And it was then where I saw it just blew my mind that the majority of the art clubs was so anti-American, anti-flag, anti-military, anti-veteran, the whole thing. And it just punched me in the face. I was like, so the people with the most rights in this country, okay, which is the creative community, have more rights than anybody. Everybody on the screen. I have more rights than you because I get to test those boundaries of that First Amendment. Okay, and I saw a welcome mat on the floor of a gallery, which was an American flag where you had to wipe your feet in. And I was just dumbfounded by this. So that's where I kind of got this. I said, you know what? And patriotism was taboo back in the 90s. It fluctuates, if you know, through history, the 60s with Vietnam. Patriotism fluctuates. And it happened again in the 90s. I think it might have been because of the first Gulf War we had. And so I said, here's my calling. This is my calling. I'm going to bring that flag, and what's great about America, I am going to bring that back through art. And I knew the art world was going to tell me to go fuck myself, and they did. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going on my own. I don't need you. I don't need you intolerant, okay, hypocritical, intolerant community, okay, who they know me now because I'm pretty well known, but they fucking hate my guts. They despise me because I did not succumb to the isms of their club and exactly what it is. And so here I am. Is it a struggle? Does the art world give me anything? No. Anything you see that I've done it on my own or through people who helped me, friends and family, to pursue my creative endeavors. But I love it. I wake up every day the happiest guy in the world because I beat them at their own game. I became successful without them. And they fucking hate that. And I love that they hate that because it just proves the fact that I am correct, that they are an elitist club. Again, I get a million liberal friends that are artists. God bless you. You want to run that way, fine, I'm fine, but I'm going my way. And I did, and here I am.
And it's ironic that the art community that's supposed to embrace all kinds of ideas, all kinds of notions. I mean, my parents were both artists, and I was brought up, taught to believe that everybody has ideas and everybody's ideas are valid. And so you should embrace all those ideas. And the art community, who's supposed to grow the ideas, has actually turned their back on you, and not only turned their back on you, but actually attacks you on a regular basis. So Eddie, talk to us a little bit about your relationship with Scott. I mean, first of all, let's talk about your restaurants. I mean, Denoy is world famous, and certainly, but that's not your only restaurant. Talk about the other restaurants that you have, and how is it that you partnered with Scott?
Well, I'm only world famous in my own mind, so, but I appreciate the nice compliment. Well, I've been friends with Scott for quite some time, probably before Scott was even friends with me. But I used to visit a neighborhood haunt when I was younger, when I just had turned into my legal drinking age, at the Cargo Cafe, where I admired a lot of his work and his talent and his je ne sais quoi, the way he just behaved in the world. And it reflected a lot of the ideas that I had as an individual, which is, just do what you want and things will come to you. And I kind of modeled myself slightly, he doesn't know that until now, but a little bit like that, to pursue my own dreams of, culinary arts and just for the love of people and for the love of the land that we're in. And I have several restaurants. We had opened up about eight of them at one point. Now we have 5. Market's a little different for restaurants in New York City, and a lot of invasive government bureaucracy overwhelms the margins of our business, so we can't really expect to work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and be happy with it in terms of money. So I kind of shifted over, and here we are. But,
so, and speaking of the cargo, well, you saved the cargo.
Scott saved the cargo with my money, but Scott saved it.
I stuck him into buying it from my other buddies.
I have some stuff I need to save.
Well, but for us, the cargo in Staten Island is an icon. And that was the one place, and still is, the one place where you can go to be you. And everybody gathers at the cargo. All philosophies, all, whether you're a business person and you're coming in a suit, or you're an artist like Scott and you come in covered in paint, or if you're a workaday guy and you're coming in off of that Con Ed pole, or you just want to sing or karaoke, you go to the cargo to be you. And every color of the rainbow is represented, every language is represented, and you saved that, and we all appreciate that, Eddie. And Scott, your voice in the cargo is fantastic.
Well,
go ahead.
Think of the irony here, okay? As all of these left-wing creative people who hate my guts because I voted for Trump. I was a conservative when I started that place back 30 years ago, okay? I was a big part of that place. I created that element of black, white, gay, straight, transgender, 80 years old, 17 years old. It was that. So this hard-ass Nazi conservative racist that I am, I created that, so that's another reason why they can't stand me, because I'm a compassionate conservative. There's no such thing in their mind. I have to be this hard-ass, bigoted, racist, homophobic man, and that's exactly what I'm not. So they can't fathom that I am that person, which makes them hate me more. They'd hate me less if I was just that hard-ass Nazi conservative. They would, but they hate me because I am that compassionate, open-minded individual, but I still support the President of the United States, Donald Trump, with everything I got.
Yeah, they can't put you in a box. That's at the end of the day. They want to put you in a box, but they can't put you in a box. And that's what frustrates them. I just want to acknowledge that we're joined by Sean Clough, our #1 fan, Lucille Chavone, who says hi, Eddie and Scott, and she misses the New York restaurant. Peggy Newman Padovano says hello, and Matthew
Girl, Peggy.
and Matt Casadine is with us, and Kay Boozer is with us too. Hi, Scott. I'm so proud that I got to meet you when you were in Jacksonville, Alabama, doing your beautiful artwork with Gary Sinise at the Lieutenant Dan and Wounded Warriors program. I have the picture we made as my profile picture, getting ready for the 4th of July.
Amen. That was great stuff, man. Opening up, I was Gary Sinise's opening act, man. And I met so many awesome patriots.
And Andrew Miller's joining us, and he says, "Hi guys, so true about the cargo." And
he was a regular there. He was there too many times. He was there too much.
There is no such thing as being there too much.
You're right.
I'm guilty, that's for sure.
And Nick Marzagalano has also joined us. Say hi to Nick.
Nick, he's the founding father of the Cargo Cafe.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about COVID, okay, and what that has done to us as a community. Scott, Eddie is a patron of the arts and a supporter of the arts, and he's helped you. But Scott, you've also been a patron of the food and restaurant industry, if you will. Your fame, not only because you drink at the bars and eat at the tables, but when COVID first broke out, you were Johnny on the spot answering to it, and you came up with a plan to try and keep the restaurant industry open and people feeling safe to come in before they dropped the hammer and closed everything down. So I think that it's safe to say that you're as big a supporter of the restaurant industry as the restaurant industry is to you. So tell me, Scott, I mean, talk to me a little bit about your feeling about COVID and how it was handled and where we are today with the restaurants still being closed.
Again, my opinion, as I like to always say, my opinion. Back to, helping out the restaurants. There's two things. Number one, I'm a bar fly. And me and my girl, we like to go out, we like to eat. So I'm lost without the bars and restaurants. The other thing is, that's how I make a lot of my bread and butter, is I hang my artwork in all these restaurants. Dozens of them. Every place Eddie opened up, there's my artwork in there. We work hand in hand. So for the restaurants to close, which means it hurts me. Everybody forgets about the artist. The artists, they don't mean anything. We got to make a fucking living too. So anyway, so it does affect us in that one. But back to, my feelings on how the whole thing went down. Again, this was uncharted territory. And yes, a lot of mistakes were made, whether it was from the administration to Dr. Fauci, the highest ranking doctors, and all the way down. I was talking to a nurse friend of mine yesterday who works at University Hospital, and we were agreeing, we're totally different politically, but she said the same thing. She said nobody knew what to do, but now we all settled down. We all locked down. Again, let's do it. This is what we were afraid. Everybody was petrified, and we did it. Okay. Now we're at the point where, does politics come into this? I think absolutely. We just had 2 weeks now, 12 days. The average time for transmission is 5 days of this disease. So it's been 2 weeks, longer than that, since these millions of people, shoulder to shoulder, screaming at each other, no mask, millions of people across the country. And there's no spike from that happening. Are they talking about spikes locally? Yesterday, they talked about a spike in the places that opened up. Yeah, because there's a lot more testing going on. What came out yesterday in the news? Major doctors said, oh, well, if you have a cough or a sneeze, if you don't have a cough or a sneeze, nobody has anything to worry about. So it's time to fucking open up businesses. If you could walk into, when Home Depot was open and in the beginning of the spring and summer, there were more people in there buying flowers for their fucking gardens, which was not essential, okay? And then everybody else is closed. So I get it. Be smart. Open up. I'm opening up Sunday. The mayor wants to come give me a fucking problem, give me a ticket. I'll tell him to stick it up himself. What is himself? He's a fucking asshole. Sorry about my language. Fuck you. I'm opening up.
So Eddie, we look to you as a restaurant expert. Talk to us a little bit about how it's affected you in the industry, and what you think it's going to do to the industry nationwide. I mean, the restaurant industry is very particular. You need to have staff, you need to have food. Where are you right now? How long will it take you to get back up and running?
Well, it's going to be a little difficult for the restaurant industry in itself. I think we'll be one of the last people to start really running up or ramping up everything. I know that when you serve alcohol and people get together, it leads for sloppy behavior. And if in fact that sloppy behavior is what gets us into trouble, we really don't want to put endanger anybody. So, but I just didn't understand exactly the way things were done in the beginning, from closing everything down and leaving all the major box stores that were considered essential open, because the whole purpose was to spread everybody out. So when you only bottlenecked everybody into one or two big places, people will get anxious and they want to funnel into those places. So at first maybe it was organized, but for me it was just like, why couldn't a dentist open up? Why couldn't a jewelry store open up when they can have appointments? Less volume, but it spreads not the wealth, but it spreads the people out a little bit further. So you don't lock them up in cages and create this chaotic situation, nerve, anxiousness, people that have other ailments that, suffered through this and possibly died through it. I mean, it was not that I'm saying in retrospect, it looks like we could have done things differently, and that's easy for me to say, but in truth it is. But everybody wanted restaurants or businesses to pivot into something else, but I needed government to start pivoting into, correcting mistakes that we made. But no, they wanted to stay true to that one certain thing that they had. And, unfortunately, like, we became the sheep of it all and got slaughtered through it. Now, financially, we only work on 10% margins in the restaurant business. It's a difficult business. Food costs went up 100% and just about everything for restaurants. So opening up and, trying to sell alcohol to go or trying to sell food to go for fine dining establishments really doesn't make sense. So we were able to get some loans? Yes, we got some loans, but nothing compared to what we've lost in terms of time and effort and energy. And, I closed the first 6 weeks on purpose because I just didn't want to chase my tail.
Yeah.
And I got all the food that we had that was going to be perishable. We sauteed it up and gave it to our staff members. Unfortunately, there's a certain demographic of people that we hire or work that are part-time, and I felt bad for them that they might not be able to get taken care of through any financial means. So we participated that way. And then when I reopened up now, we have to restructure everything. I'm not sure where the restaurants are going to be in this set time because, I've also graduated with a finance and investments degree. I do this as a labor of love, but a lot of the love comes in what attracts the performance, which is money.
Yeah.
And, I'm a capitalist at heart that way, but I did what I love to do in life. And here we are just reorganizing ourselves, restructuring our livelihood. And, me, my mother and father, who are Argentinian immigrants, came to this country, through proper means and got their citizenship. And my father went from being a highly decorated officer in Argentina, my mother, a fashion designer, to come in here and sacrificing everything for their two kids to, recreate their dreams or create the American dream, streets paved in gold. And we got left behind, and we essentially support the economic wheel through taxes, transactional income tax, and all sorts of other things. I mean, small business, 20 employees or less make up 45% of the economy. Yeah. And we totally got slapped in the face over it. And I know there's a lot of political issues in the restaurant business. You're not supposed to be political, have any religious belief, or have any sexual orientation. You don't talk about it as an owner. And nor do I care. So I'm liberal that way, but I'm fiscally conservative in terms of like, come on, we're all supporting this system together. And I thought there was no unity. And the divisiveness of everybody that came along is just, it's scary. It's scary that we're in this type of position right now as small business and as individuals in a modern time in America. I don't know.
So let me ask you something, Eddie. So they're talking about when they are going to let you open, they want you to open at a severely diminished capacity. Now, something, once in a while, elected officials actually watch this broadcast. Could you just tell the elected officials out there that's in control about how this is going to open, whether or not you can make any money if they tell you you can only open at 50% capacity? You already said it was 10% margin. Tell them what you need to do to open.
Well, I mean, I don't want to present myself to be like a scientist or a doctor or whatnot, but I mean, it's very difficult for the restaurant industry that's mom and pop owned to survive it. And I know that we're going to be sacrificial lambs through this. So for us to even open, I mean, that's just beyond my pay grade to say that what we can or cannot do. But I know that it could have been managed better throughout the whole process, that we could have had a little bit more leverage. Or they could actually, when they maybe rewrite a stimulus, that there's more identified, specific for small mom and pop businesses, because we're going to end up looking for work. I mean, I'm in a very good position bad position where I didn't get married, have children, so I'm not supporting that. But most small business people are supporting families, and they're going to be really, really, really at a loss for words and financial means.
You know,
Do you think that the restaurant industry will diminish in New York City? I mean, what percentage do you think is able to survive this any longer?
It depends. I mean, a lot of them can survive just out of sheer will, but will they make money doing it? No. That's small mom and pop. So I guess corporations that are funded by outside, investors, rather than, our own personal, we're small mom and pop, we kind of take equity out of our homes to buy a restaurant and to do that. And that's how we kind of build them. We're also the majority stake owner of any properties that are 3 family or less. So that's our retirement fund. So we're all going to be taking a bit of a hit. And I also got interviewed by the Wall Street Journal because I had to withdraw my IRA to kind of survive through this. And I have a lot of bills. I mean, unfortunately, I have a ton of bills, and most of the people that rent from me at below market value are my employees. So they weren't paying, and I wasn't going to harass them either. And, they live paycheck to paycheck. I think nobody really understood that. And I know that we look at the upper echelon and the very poor people, and we all try to figure that out. But you just, in my opinion, are going to collapse the middle, which is your economic engine. And that scares me to death, that they're allowing it. And for me now, it's almost become politicized. And that's not fair. It's not fair to people that sacrifice their livelihoods, their energy, their strength. I legitimately work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and no pension plan. I mean, unless I created it myself. So,
I have a question. How did now that you're ramping up and getting ready to reopen, right? How did the government's $600 stimulus affect your ability to restaff? Did it have any effect?
For me personally, I have an opinion on it, but I mean, for me personally, there's really nothing to revamp to, because fine dining is not there's nobody to bring anything back to, because even if they did come back, they would be making less money. And for that, we're not even making any money. We opened up to-go business at 2 of our 5 locations, but just because some guys wanted to work and some people wanted to work. Some of we have a burrito shop. They wanted to work, and the women that worked there, they were confident, and to be able to do it successfully without endangering anybody's health. But I don't know. I mean, there's nothing to come back to. There's nothing, there's no business. So it's not like I can generate anything out of that, because you scared everybody half to death. And again, rightfully so, I guess, for a certain period of time. But then you can't have what we've been seeing happen and say that it's the opposite. And I'm talking about big box stores, and then, having protests that without any. Then what's good for one should be good for all.
So
And-
let me just tell you something that's actually happening where I am right now. I'm right now in South Carolina, and I'm taking care of my parents down here, and everything's open here. And yes, they've seen a spike in COVID, but we knew that was going to happen, right? Because everybody was hunkered down for 10 weeks, and then as soon as everybody goes out to play, you're going to see a spike. I don't care where you are, but the restaurants are packed. Eddie, I went to a restaurant yesterday and it was packed. It had 4 seatings. We went late at the last seating and there were still lines outside to get in. So anybody who says nobody wants to go out to eat, bullshit. People are dying to get back out again. And they were doing it very, very well. There was a lot of outdoor seating, but inside was all, was all, ready to go, and it was full. And, they were just being careful about stand 6 feet apart, your table sits together, your servers, they followed all the COVID rules.
You mean we could be responsible people? Is that what you mean? It's amazing.
Yeah. It was amazing that the restaurateurs down here figured it out and the people are coming. So, Eddie, I have total confidence in people like you and some of the other really well-known restaurateurs on the island that you'll be able to bring it back some way. But I know the government has to work with you. It can't, small business doesn't have an endless stream of resources. So, we're going to keep pushing for you guys to open as soon as possible. But let us transition a little bit because you mentioned protests. And Scott, let's talk about some of your work and the stuff that you've been doing. I mean, you follow what goes on in the news. Your art is very on point for what's happening at any given time. For instance, once COVID hit and our nurses in our hospitals were being overwhelmed, you did some great installations at our New York hospitals. You've done installations to call people's attention to the veterans that are committing suicide, 21 of them every day. You want to talk about that just to let our viewers know about that, because that hasn't stopped, right? Especially now during COVID, it's probably even worse. Talk a little bit about 21 and some of your other high-profile installations.
Art is to provoke emotion, and there's nobody in the fucking world that does that better than me. And on both sides of the spectrum. I mean, I'll put a piece of artwork out there that'll twist your nuts to no end. And then I will put an art piece out the next day that'll bring tears to your eyes and bring passion and emotion to so positive in a community sense, to bring attention to communities. Staten Island is not known for its artistic, element, but I've been here since the 90s with my billboards. My first one I did was Saddam Hussein with an American flag with muscle arm clutching the head of Saddam Hussein in '91. That was my first political public art piece. And this island wasn't used to that because it's a nice, quiet place. So here comes this guy with this message, and it said, get the job done and get home safely. And so I started from there. But again, it's just whatever, some artists just do a landscape and they're happy with that. And that's great. I love that stuff. But I am someone, many artists we do portraits of society, portraits of current events. I mean, that's been going on since the history of the cave drawings, since the cave drawing. So it's a long thing to express, I guess. There's a yin yang to be. And it comes down from the advice I got from both my parents. My mother's advice was, son, whatever you want to do in life at a young age, whatever you want to do in life, we are behind you as long as you believe it in your heart and you always take care of the less fortunate. I lost her a couple of months ago. Anyway.
Our heart goes out to you, Scott. We know how hard it's been.
And my dad's advice was, son, take shit from nobody. And that's this yin yang, I guess, that I am, which people don't like about me. And I'm fine with that. I thrive off of it, actually. But that's who I am. And, these things pop up, whether it's the Sandy shooting, You know, regardless of political side, on pro-gun or not pro-gun, whatever. It takes your heart away to see that. So I needed to do an installation. Scratched up whatever money I had, borrowed money, whatever it was, and created this installation of 24 angels, little children angels out of lights, and just put it up in a public place just for people to reflect, because they don't have anything to do. Everything is on the machine right now. Everybody's on the machine. You know, everything is turned into this. Oh, prayers and wishes and all of that. And it's all good. But I've had this gift, so I need to use it to build something that people can see, people can touch, they can smell, they can feel it, they can reflect. You know, so there's hundreds of them I've done. And one of my best ones was the 22. Actually, it's 22.
Oh, I'm sorry, 22.
It's all right. It's 22. 22 veterans a day. I found this out 5 years ago when I was on my 50-state tour, painting flags in every state on a veterans post to bring attention to these superheroes who don't ask for any fucking attention. They don't ask for anything. And I suck up the milk and honey. I live my life the way I want. Nothing will ever change. I am living the perfect American life to do whatever the fuck I want. And it's because of these men and women. Okay, I was promoting them 20 years ago when nobody cared. The veterans, whatever. And I said, no, these are the people to let us be the assholes that we are. And I could be an asshole. And I'm proud of that because I can be, you know, and then I could be this compassionate man that can't control my emotions. You know, when Sandy hurricane comes down and kills 24 of our fellow people, and I got to build something for them. And, you know, so it's and again, back to the veteran thing, 22 a day. Just think about that, 22 a day. These are the men and women that do this shit for me, for us. You know, I don't expect everybody to be like me, but I taught so many young people. You know, my nephew called me the other day. I was in Costco and I saw a guy, his Korean War hat, and I went over and I thanked him. If I did that to one person to convince them to do that to a veteran, I go to heaven, or hell, happy.
But somewhere in between.
Well, there's a lot of people like comment. They're like, "You're the most amazing, greatest person in the world because of what I did for something." And I'm like, "Sweetheart, I'm making up for the bad shit that I did when I was younger." Okay, and there's a lot of steps up there or down there, whatever. I'm trying to make up for it. But anyway, so that's a part of Scott LoBaido. A lot of these, people that they don't know me personally. You have a drink with me, you hate my fucking guts. I tell you in 20 minutes, you're my best friend, you're going to have my phone number. That's how it is. But they don't see, and I understand, not that I'm a celebrity, but I'm here a little bit, and they read what they see in the paper. They read what they see online. And it's automatically, they know the shit I do for all of these, the World War II veteran who didn't get his awards. Black guy. I don't give a shit what his color was. The guy never got his awards. He was homeless. Somebody stole his house. On my own. I spent my own money, days and weeks of finding the right medals for this hero of Pearl Harbor who was 98 years old. And they don't want to see that. They want to see my Trump with muscles driving around the city promoting Trump's 2020 election. That's what they see. That's what they hate. I'm not asking them to kiss my ass because I do nice things. I don't give a shit what people think about me. I think I made that point.
Yeah. Well, Steve D'Angelo says that he believes haters have to hate because they hate themselves. And Jen Remauro has dropped in and she says that everybody's looking great. Susan Zacconi is with us saying hi, Scott. And we have Nancy O'Neill, Jane Keys, Robin Ann, and John Matthew, Janet Trattenberg, and Lady Lulu Ellen have joined us.
I never say hello to Janet when I do a live feed. Hi, Janet.
This might be a good segue into something I saw happen.
Yeah.
Eddie, we're going to get back to you in a second, but I witnessed something, Scott. Two things happened. I'm a fan of yours, obviously. I witnessed, some people attacking you on social media for something that you did recently at Borough Hall. And it wasn't the usual attack. It was more vicious than I've ever seen before. It was this piece. You put this up in front of Borough Hall.
Well, that's the painting I just
That's
did.
the painting, right? I don't have the live show.
I did an installation, art sculpture of it, right?
Right, and people twisted this installation into a racial tone, and I wonder if you could just touch. Why did you make this piece? What does this piece to you? I know art's interpreted by the user, but what was your intent when you made this? I think I understand it, but
I didn't put a title on it because it's so obvious what it represents. But then people twisted it as they expected, but it went way out of control. Again, what's the current situation? Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. Okay? Yeah, I'm a conservative. But again, one day people will read the book about me and they'll say, holy shit, this guy did more for everybody. Poor people, black people, gay people. I'm a human being. Yes, there's racial tension, okay? Whether it's political, whether it's whatever it is, I don't fucking care. Let's just get together. We can come together. There's a dialogue that needs to be started. And I'm looking to start the dialogue, but I know it's not going to happen because I'm going to say one thing politically incorrect, and then the other side is going to be like, see, he's a racist. When that is not going to make any dialogue. There's dialogue that needs to be brought on both sides to admit some fucking mistakes on both sides, okay? So we'll get to that. I got to figure out how to do it because everyone's afraid for rightful reasons. What guy has a job? Okay, say a white person has a job that wants to start this dialogue and say, well, what about, your group of people should maybe do this. Oh, why? Because we're this, we're black or we're brown or it's going to be a long time before people open up and let that happen because political correctness came into this fucking play. And if everybody remembers, I've been getting arrested since the 90s because everybody laughed at me because I was trying to warn you fucking people that this political correctness is going to get so fucking dangerous. And here we are. And now people are saying, now I understand why you got arrested at that public school that didn't want to do the Pledge of Allegiance when they have to by state law, and so on and so on. Scott's in the front page in handcuffs. Look at him trying to get attention. I was trying to fucking warn you. I don't like eating bologna in central booking. Trust me. Okay? Yeah. Making a point. Back to what you said with this whole thing. So what's going on? What do? Comes through my mind and through my heart and then through my hand. And I created 4 figures, 2 white and 2 black. A team holding up a ladder, reaching for American peace. It's that fucking simple. It was beautiful. Everybody loved it when I posted it. Then somebody in the St. George neighborhood posted it on there. They said, let me check this out. Let me take a look. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got lucky because it was not greatly executed. Look, no art supply stores are open. It's not the execution of the artwork, it's the meaning. All right, to all you fucking art major geniuses. Okay, one person said, I loved it until I found out the artist who made it, Scott LoBaido. Just think about that statement. Okay,
it's a big problem. Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Now, that girl who went off, I take heat, believe me. I get my car destroyed. I get death threats. You name it. I'm fine. I live with it. This is who I am. I don't give a fuck. I fear no man, as my father told me not to. This girl went nuts. So did a whole bunch of other people. Nuts. You are up. She called out to all New York City people. She's from Queens. She's a school teacher. This is a school.
That's lovely. That's lovely. So she's training our kids.
Cecilia,
her name, right? Megan Cecilia?
Yeah. Well, I'll get to her in a minute without another thing. It shows the good fucking hearted person I am. Okay. You racist piece of shit. Everyone, don't call Borough Hall. Get this off the front lawn. And then it just went. Let's throw dog shit at it. Blah, blah, blah. There's where you go over the line with me. You call me anything you want. You call me a racist and you go over the line, I'm coming back at you, Toots. And I fucking did. Just by responding and letting it be known on social media what this chick said to me. Yeah, forgive me my misogynistic ways. There's other words I could use, but again, I'm a gentleman. I didn't have to do anything else. The people spoke. Just like my friend for 25 years last week who did the same thing, went over the line. He had to pull his Facebook plug out. Same thing with this girl. Last night, she had to pull her Facebook out because people knew that she worked for the BOA. They said, Scott, call the BOA, get her fired. This is disgusting. She teaches children. I said, no, I'm not. I don't go down that road. Karma comes worse than anything else. I don't want her to lose her job. I want her to just understand. Want to come at me? Fine. You go over the line, I'm coming at you. I don't give a shit who you are and who you know. So
she used a word that disturbed me. She used the word, you're interfering with her revolution, if I remember.
Yes,
right.
revolution.
Yes. Oh, yeah, she's one of them. The anti-sympathizing radical, got a trophy for everything she did, that kind of fine.
We need to recognize this man.
Yes, Teddy.
I know that's your job, Leticia, but I couldn't let that one go. Teddy, a World War II vet. Scott, your support means so much to me. Scott personally came to sit with me at my house to cheer me up about the flag controversy. These are the things. This is the men that we need to show more respect for.
This guy, Teddy, let me tell you something about this guy, Teddy. This guy, Teddy, he was so sick before I met him. It's a World War II veteran. You understand? World War II veteran. Okay? This is why I do what I do. I didn't have the balls to go to war like he did. I admit that. There's part of me that's a little guilt that I'm sucking up the milk and honey. But there's nobody in this country, well, I'm sure there are, but nobody can ever question what I've done and what I do for veterans and the military and the disabled veterans, the guys with no arms or legs. I'm there raising $50,000 with my artwork for a new wheelchair for them. Anyway, this guy was upset because he saw the way the world was going. And I convinced him, and I will convince you today, Teddy, you have nothing to worry about. These little pockets of these city folk, these little pockets of assholes, they're nothing compared to the 300 million people out there who love you. Don't worry about this, Teddy. It's all good.
Thank you.
I can tell you, being down south right now, where they kneel for God, stand for the flag, and look everybody else in the eye. Teddy, yeah, we love you here, and the rest of the world loves you and thanks you for your service. And listen to Scott. He knows, he's been around. We do embrace you, and
the flag will stand forever. Teddy.
It will stand forever because, like you, it's our turn now, Teddy, to stand and defend it, and we'll do it whichever we have to, and whether that be with our words or with our own guns or however it has to be done. But I can assure you that we'll do it. Sheila Trinea has joined us also, Scott. She says hello. And Donnie Diagnosis and Liz Sadley is also has joined us too. And they say that they're so proud of you and all that you've done to keep America red, white, and blue. And never forget that. And thank you, Scott.
Means the world to me. Thank you. That's my inspiration right there.
And so let's move a little bit into politics, because something that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime has occurred, and it's occurring right now in Seattle. We have the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, right? This group of protesters, it all started with the murder of George Floyd, but suddenly morphed into anarchy, and they have taken over 7 square blocks in Seattle. And first thing they did was build a border and and defend that border with weapons. And now they're literally
a police force.
Yeah, they want to get rid of all
fucking Marines.
Yeah. So I mean, how long do you think this can go on for? Do you? I mean, look, you've been all around the world, Scott. You too, Eddie. Yeah, how long do you think that this is going to be able to hold out, that the people of Seattle can hold out? I mean, they're claiming that those 7 blocks are now not American soil, and they're trying to negotiate with America. So people like Teddy Isidore that put up his life and fought the hard battles, that piece of ground is no longer American soil. What do you think about that? What message do you have for them?
And then Eddie can go. They already did their job, Teddy and his buddies in World War II. But if we send in a handful of those guys, these World War II veterans, I guarantee you a handful of World War II veterans would kick the living shit out of all of those little fucking punks. I guarantee that. That's what we should do. That would be unbelievable. But realistically, send in the fucking special ops. You're not America. You're an invading country. Send the fucking forces in there. Today! The longer we wait, it's fucking embarrassing. It means that all these other assholes like them around the rest of the country are going to say, well, we can do it too. Stop being fucking wusses. That mayor, she can go to send in the fucking troops. You got to make an example. Set the fucking example. Sorry, I get very passionate.
It's okay. Eddie, yeah, you deal with a lot of young people in your business. What do you think is going on? What do you think they're really angry about, Eddie?
I'm not even sure anybody really knows what they're angry about, but I think what is going on with the media, that they're pulling everybody's strings. And I think after November, win or lose, whichever party gets into office, I mean, and I don't know if anything will change. And then that's when we'll know how dumb we really all are as the sheep who are getting led to the slaughterhouse. If you can see that there's real change, and all these people have been in power for so long, like why all of a sudden now that they're radicalizing and allowing this to happen? I mean, this is not the world that we were supposed to be in. Listen, and we shouldn't allow any of this to happen. Not like this. This is just complete anarchy.
One-way conversation. It's disturbing. It needs to be a two-way conversation, and not that.
And the thing I think that bothers me the most, Scott and Eddie, because both of you support, artists, supporter of the arts. The thing that breaks my heart is I feel like we're going backwards into McCarthyism, right? I mean, if you say something on Facebook that these radicals don't like, they bash and shame you. They call you a Karen. They call you, if you say all lives matter instead of Black lives matter, suddenly you're a racist. You don't get it. You have latent racist tendencies. They're calling you out. They're calling your boss. If Tucker Carlson just lost lots of his sponsors because people didn't like the way that he portrayed the protesters. We have Elmer Fudd is got his a cartoon character. He's got his rifle taken away. We've got two of the nation's hottest television show, live PDs and cops, being yanked from the air. Gone with the Wind is now no longer available on Amazon Prime, and neither is Blazing Saddles. To me, this is the antithesis of everything that we fought for our generation since I was a kid, to be able to have free speech, to stop having our books burned and our language censored and ourselves labeled as, communists if McCarthy and his people in Congress didn't like you. I mean, do you see us going backwards here, but on the other side of the pendulum? I mean, as an artist, Scott, this must kill you.
It hurts. But again, I am a fighter. I don't use the gun and the bayonet. I didn't have the balls to do that. I use paint and brush. Okay, and I will fight to the day I die. Okay, I want people to Google something. Okay, it's Malcolm X doing a speech on white liberals. Okay, again, I got a lot of white liberal friends. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the radical. And it's unbelievable what he says 50 years ago. How they are the worst. They are the worst. They're the fox. You can't see the fox in the woods. You can see the wolf. They're the fox. They don't give a shit about George Floyd and these protests. They have their own agenda. They come in peace. Oh, we're representing you. It's bullshit, okay? And it's the select group, this Antifa bullshit. They have their own agenda to change this world into socialism. They jumped on this fucking wagon. That's sad as fucking hell, okay? Google it and watch it. It's a couple of minutes long, but you're not going to believe it because we say this all the time. But this is coming from Malcolm X.
Yes, it is.
Watch this, folks. I know Facebook doesn't even let you. Can't. They're probably not letting it on. It's just a
no. It's very visible, and you can do it. Malcolm X, white liberals. Just Google it and take a look, and you'll be able to see what they say.
Share it. I'd love to see what social media does to your post. Share that thing as much as you can if you're listening out there. You know what disturbs me the most about this whole thing? Listen, there is no question racism is a problem. There is no question that slavery was no one I know is going that. We should go back to that. What's getting ignored is the progress that we have made. It's getting completely wiped out. We made no progress. I would love, and I probably will take some shit for this. I would love a black person from 100 years ago to step today and listen to what is going on here, and people saying, that we haven't made any progress, because they lived a whole different kind of life, and it was a horrible life, and we need to make up for it. I'm not denying any of that, but for God's sake, we've come a long way. You can't demand equality. You just get it by people getting better. Demanding anything turns into a fight. It doesn't have to be a fight.
Exactly.
Everybody I know feels balanced.
You can't force me to understand you. I don't care if it's you, Leticia, you, Eddie, you, that black guy down the street. I don't understand that. Okay, let me tell you something. If I was around in the 60s and I was on a bus and some white dude came in and made Rosa Parks go to the back of the bus, I'd smack the living shit out of him, because that's how I was raised. It sickens me that happened. But we have come a long way. And racism, homophobia, bigotry, it's individual. It's not across the fucking board. We proved that. I don't like Obama's policies. I never liked them. I'm a conservative. But when he won that election, I cried like a little fucking baby, because I saw this historical moment of this. We're not the race that we're portrayed to be.
That's right.
This cop, the world was with George Floyd. The whole fucking world was with him. Okay?
That's right.
Protest all you want. I'm the biggest protester. I don't care. If you believe in it, protest it. But 70% of those people weren't there for George Floyd. And that fucks everything up. It makes it more racial divide. You want to put Black Lives Matter on the street, giant things? Go ahead. You know what? You might not like this, but I'm going to put in blue, and so do blue lives.
That's right.
Not racist, nothing. I support my 99% of my police department. The guy who killed George Floyd is a jerk off, and God, let whatever happens to him in jail happens to him. It's disgusting, and I'm right there. But you're making this racial issue what it really isn't. It's there. It's in. Well, let me. Please, let me. Okay, I'm not even comparing, but I'm Italian. Okay, I'm Sicilian. I stand under a street light, I get 10. Now, picture me driving my truck around the whole country into these little southern towns where I'm an artist from New York City, Italian. Believe me, I get shit too, but I deal with it. You don't want Italians in your country club? And fine, I don't fucking care. I'll do my own thing. If I want to fight for it, I will. You fight for it. What is America? America, you fight for stuff. Nobody wants to fight anymore. You
That's
fight.
Right.
When it was the gay community, be married. Yes, they came. People died for it. Life is a struggle. I have a glass ceiling. The art world fucking hates me because I don't pronounce my R's right. I'm Italian and I'm from Staten Island and I'm a fucking Republican. So I'm not comparing it. But people, don't fall victim to the media and these people that come in and infiltrate you and make things worse. My opinion.
Well, I think that the thing that we all take umbrage with is that the protests somehow got turned into America being a racist country, America being a bad place. Now, I'm sorry, but what other country other than America could somebody who would have been a slave 200 years ago become president of the United States? Only in America. Where could somebody other than America be openly gay, be transvestite, be in love and married to another person and celebrate it? You try and do that in Iran and see what that gets you.
Go to Russia and try that, right? Yep.
I mean, America is, as you said, Eddie, your parents came here from Argentina to, begin the American dream. My father was I'm first generation Italian. So did my father come over here for that same reason. We came over and we worked hard for what we had. And to be told that this country that has given us all so much opportunity is a no good country because we are racist is just, to me, it's heartbreaking. And as a Staten Islander, to hear that Staten Island is racist when we voted for Obama the second term. So don't tell us that we're not thinking people on Staten Island. Don't label us because you're unhappy with a point in history, because there was a point in history that every single group, whether you were Italian or Irish, or look at the poor Japanese during World War II, when Teddy was fighting, right? The Japanese were in concentration camps that we kept them in America. Look at the Jewish people. every single group has gone through it, and they fought through it, and they got to where they had to be. We've made tremendous progress. To hear that we're still racist and we're no good, I think that's where they've lost so many people, and I think that's what really pisses people off. So all right, Eddie, I don't know if you want to add to anything there. Okay,
No,
so why don't we? Okay.
No, just exciting to listen to all this because it's so many different opinions, and it's true. I just feel bad for everybody getting caught in the crossfires of all this because a certain select group of people are making this so public and just abusing our system, abusing us as hardworking people. And I'm excited about Scott's store opening up too.
Yes,
keep
so
seeing
let's
that on the
talk.
bottom over there. Art gallery grand opening. Good for you, Scott.
Why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
Let's go into that.
It's,
Let's
you know, I sell my work in restaurants and here and there and stuff, and I'm, you know, my work's getting more in demand, which is nice. As I progress, I put my time in, you know, mid-career artist, and I'm a little above that, and so it's been time to open up a store. So Eddie and a couple of folks, we got together to help me because, listen, I'm an artist. I'm not a businessman. That's every artist pretty much is like that. So I always need people to help around me. And Eddie here is a great businessman. And we were talking, we know each other so long. Eddie likes to branch out a little bit. You know, he's been in the restaurant business, but he wanted to branch out. So he's helped me get this open. And it's exciting. It's going to be a pop-up. 6 months I'm going to have it for, and we'll see how it goes. I'd like to travel around in different, you know, patriotic towns in America and open up the pop shop. But for now, we're opening up on Newdorp Lane, which is the 5th Avenue of Staten Island. Right next to Brielle School, 172 Newdorp Lane. And, of course, I'm a patriot. Flag Day is Sunday. It's also the president's birthday. And I'm opening up this Sunday. So people can come by, a few people in the gallery at a time. Anybody wants to buy stuff. I got prints, signed prints. I have lithographs, canvas prints. I have originals. And I have some fashion.
Are you guys worried, Eddie? Are you guys worried at all?
About...
No, it's curbside pickup, but they're coming in as they go into restaurants or wherever else to pick up their stuff, which one they're going to select.
I'm opening up Sunday.
In other words, we're not worried at all.
About the protesters, about people coming out.
Bring them.
I'll be there.
I'm absolutely not worried about any of that. And
actually, if I can, a couple of major Scott LoBaido pieces going to be there. The one that I just did with the piece thing with the ladder and the black and white folks. The piece I just recently did of all the flag raising with the first responders, which is going to be toward down in Washington. I'll get to that another time. And my soldier flag, what I made out of 3,500 toy soldiers that Eddie actually obtained. And of course, the greatest painting is the official portrait of Mayor de Blasio, which is called
spectacular. Yeah, I have to come and see what he did to this. I don't want to give it away. Let him come see it.
Wait, I just want to point out that Scott LoBaido has said fuck about 400 times on the show, but when he wanted to say asshole, he mouthed it.
The first thing I ask when I do an interview, can I curse?
Yeah, I just want to get to something that Teddy Isidori says. 18 Italians were hung in New Orleans, and it wasn't condemned at the time by FDR. Worst mass hanging in American history, but no one mentions that. And Teddy, I thank you for your history lesson because it's important to us. I want you to know that I have a friend who's 92 years old. He is a black minister up in Harlem. His name is Bob Royal, and he marched with Martin Luther, and he and I talk on a regular since these protests have began. And he said to me from the beginning, Tish, he calls me Tish. He says, it stopped being about George Floyd a long time ago. This is definitely anarchy, and we're losing the message, and it was breaking his heart. And that's sad because that man was here almost 100 years ago, and he knows the progress that we've made. And for a man of that age and that seniority to feel that way, it's terrible. We have.
I got a breaking story. Believe it or not, right? There's a Facebook group out there, so you Scott fans need to go there now. it's called Exposing Staten Island Racists. Are you aware of this, Scott?
Am I on the top of the list now?
Okay, so they're giving away your address on this Facebook group, Scott.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're doxing you right now. Now I'm going to do what I can to get it shut down, but everyone head over there and start reporting those posts.
And that's criminal.
Somebody on that Facebook page will see this. You're fucked. You give me address out, you're fucking with the wrong fucking guy.
Well, the law's on your
That's
side
criminal.
on that.
No
That's
shit.
criminal.
You're
Criminal.
fucked now. Your life changes like never before.
Well, let's track that down, because I know that we have somebody that will help you bring action, Scott, against this, because this is the type of hate that's out there. If anybody doesn't agree, this is what they do, and they think it's just perfectly fine, and that's a sad commentary on our young people, because I fear for the future artists, Scott. I fear that this groupthink is going to be making our newfound artists will make a lot of white boxes, a lot of white and black and vanilla art, because they're all thinking the same thing. Where is the creativity going to come from? Where's the fire? Where's the passion?
It's a shame. I mean, I have, since, this whole Trump thing started, and I got more of a national and international, recognition. I got emails, so many, from young artists who are like, I'm a conservative like you, but I can't come out of the closet, and you did, and it's helping me come out of the, and it's hard, and I'm like, you're fucked. You got to really. I went individually. There's so many art opportunities out there: commercial art, fine art, fashion art, and stuff, computer graphics. But I took that road to be the individual, and it's very tough, and it's sad. It's actually sad, because these people on the left, okay, not everybody, but the art community is open to every form of art, serial killer work, you name it. But if you happen to be conservative, you're fucked. You don't exist as an artist.
And
Isn't that like reverse racism or of sorts? Or
No, it's just plain racism.
Yeah.
You know what? It doesn't matter what color you're racist against. If you are only about
Just
your
racist.
clan and your niche, and you don't want anybody with an opposing idea, it's either racist, or it's thought police, or it's, it's wrong. And that's what artists have fought forever to I mean, it's ridiculous. We're joined by a young man. I'm going to say young only by his picture. It might not be him. Jazudas Tanaraj, and he says the federal government should go for a discussion with the protesters and ask what's their demand and give assurance for action. And I find it interesting, because I want to know why the federal government should be negotiating with terrorists.
Yeah, well, but the answer is they want equality. How would you like me to deliver that to you? In an envelope? I don't. We're coming a long way every day, and the answer I always get is, we want equality now. Okay, here's your equality. Like, is that how it works? I don't know how it works.
If the president of the United States is the highest ranking official in the U.S., then equality was achieved, presumably, when Obama was elected president. But that's not what we want here, because that's clearly where we had a black president for 8 years who had every opportunity to bring forth the change that was being demanded. And yet that wasn't good, and the change that occurred then was not satisfactory. So I'm not quite sure what we're looking for here. And it seems to me what we're looking for is the abolition of the American government. And that, I think, is something that George Soros has wanted for many, many years. And frankly, I don't care who wants me to stop saying it, but I'm going to say it here now. I believe that George Soros and his billions of dollars have corrupted his mind, and he is now trying to dismantle this government. And not for anything, guys, but some of these other billionaires who think because they accumulated $1 billion that they're the smartest guys in the world. I think that they're part of this movement to try and control the greatest economy in the world, and that's America. And I think that we have to push back here, because these kids with these skateboards made of steel that can break down plywood, and with their gas masks and their headphones and their Apple watches, I mean, they're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. because it's costing money to do these protests. So that's my 2 cents. I think George Soros is behind it, and I think that the American government is under attack, and we have to all stand up and defend it. And we have to do it for Teddy and everyone who's fought and defended it before him.
And we have to do it for George Floyd.
And we have to do it for George.
100%. Yes, we need
No fight racism with racism.
It's not even, it's these white punks that just, listen, you know my truck, folks. You don't need my address. You see my fucking truck every goddamn street in this island. You know where to find me. You don't need to go to my address.
Yeah.
As soon as the bar's open, you'll be easy to find.
That's
okay,
so, because I'm usually parked in front of a bar.
We know where you are. Okay, so Scott, I'm going to give you an opportunity for a last word, and you too, Eddie.
Just listen. Captain Perry said it in the Battle of Lake Erie. Don't give up the ship. Don't give up the fucking ship, people. Listen to me. You got Teddy, World War II veteran, listening to this. Do it for Teddy. Do it for George Floyd. Don't give up the fucking ship to these maniacs. Send in the goddamn Marines to Seattle. God bless. See you Sunday.
Eddie?
I got a lot of less words, but I'm going to, the most impressive one is how well Teddy types and so quick.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's got it down pat. Thank you, Teddy. I appreciate all your efforts for us. Truly. Thank you, guys.
The U.S. military. So thank you, Teddy, and thank you. Jim Alfano joined us. And let me see, did I miss anybody? I think that Marianne Majestic joined us. Thank you, everybody who joined us today. Thank you for your questions and your comments. Ellen Abadi joined us as well. Kathy Ledwith was with us today. And of course, Antonio Di Simone from Sorrento. Buenos Aires di Sorrento. He comes to us every Monday and Friday from Sorrento, Italy. On Monday, our guest is going to be Michelle Eskenazi. She was the National Bail Bondsman Association, and we're going to talk about bail reform and what it has done to the American culture and how it's affecting crime in America. So, George, thanks again, and we'll see you all on Monday, 2:00.
Take care, everybody.